Hello, Commanders, and welcome to a continuation of my series that will show you how to build and trap an AFK Stonewood Endurance here in Fortnite Save the World. And in our episode, we are going to continue with the Drop Amplifier, and this time prepare for our South attack. Now, I have already covered our West attack in the previous episode, and I have all episodes for this endurance build in a playlist here on my YouTube page, and that link is in the description below for you. All right, but we're going to work down in to ground level. And with metal, build against the natural terrain, just like I am doing here. And I like to edit this down for a moment. All right. Then here, we're going to have a block off with a pyramid. Face it outward. And then an additional block off with pyramid. And this time I'll edit through the back. No builds here and around, as it will not be of benefit. Meaning the spawns will blow it all up. Same thing out here as well. Just leave it all open and free. Now, when it comes to traps for the block off, I'd like a heels attached, wall spikes on the interior of the wall. When it comes to all traps being utilized, they are the same exact traps I've used so far and will continue to use throughout. As a reminder, if you want an endurance to work exactly as intended, it's very important that you build it exact and utilize the exact roles on the traps, to include making certain you are at your AFK spot when you are not around to be watching the builds. And I have actually step by step shown you how to build, trap, and operate a material grinder in one of the episodes of the series. So that's available as well. All right. But I do need to point that out in case you are here today with me and wondering, because I have that question a lot. But otherwise, let's go ahead and continue. Inside here, I want our primary ceiling electric field with the 1 reload speed, just like that. No other traps up top. Just make sure everything is taken care of, meaning seal it down. Now, when it comes to the wall darts, we will go with the primary 1 reload for anything front to back from the amplifier, and anything side to side will be the 2 reload option. I just want to make sure we're covering that. Reload speed is important in Save the World, especially if you want consistency. Please don't overlook it. And it's not spoke about enough, in my opinion. All right. And then out here, side to side with the 2 as well. Now, I have already covered in the previous episode this spot right here that you want to be mindful of. So don't overlook that for sure. All right. Now, over here, okay, I'm going to have a block off here. We want it to be full block off with floor. Wall dart will be shooting through the opening. And I'm going to count this as part of the other build, even though it can be theoretically used for both sides when it comes to the flex amp and when they attack from the west here. But nonetheless, we'll just go ahead and keep our same pattern going. Inside of this wall, heels attached wall spike. And then our block off will face out toward the south in this scenario. And then you will have a wall over here as well. I do need to include that. And what you will have out here then would be, and because I'm going to be considering this build now, I'll consider this a side-to-side dart. Or we can go the same, I guess. But dart this way shooting in. Right here, your sound wall. This would be our sound wall that has the 1 epic reload speed. Right here. The medium in my terms when it comes to my builds. Then up and behind over here, we are going to go ahead with a scenario just like this here. And actually, you don't need this. You're going to have a hot spot up here, believe it or not, that will take that if you try to build this or around in here. And actually above your floor here. So you won't need that. This should be just fine. As long as you are standing where you should be during the AFK. Up in the material grinder at your spot. You'll be fine. So that covers that block off. Then you have a little section here. Same thing, don't place this wall, it doesn't hold. Unfortunately, it will be lefted. And this will all be tier 3. When it comes to our walls. And then on the back of these, heels attached wall spike again, as I am showing. Then while we're up here, we will wrap around and into here. And actually, you will have this here as well. I would not recommend anything here, though. Or if you place it, do understand there's a hot spot out here and up here. Okay. Or it's actually more so out here, but it could lift this if you place it. I'll put it there, but I just want to point out that it can. All right. And that would conclude all of those block off areas that we need to be concerned about. Then down here on ground level, there is a hotspot over here at times. On a rare occasion, I've seen this disappear on us. So I do need to point that out. Floors will go up. Hotspot up here. They can disappear and sometimes mess with this. Just as we're seeing. And everything at your tier 3. And then we will work an opening here. And here. And then I want your ceiling up here. And you can connect that if you wish. So not our typical here. Because again, I've noticed that at times it gets blown up. So I want that safety and security blanket for you as a result. Boom. 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 Open this up. This over here. You're shooting there through there. We will shoot through here as well. All right, and then everything at our tier 3. As I've mentioned in the series, don't necessarily have to only have tier 3 metal throughout the build. When it comes to this entire endurance, I do like it. You can go tier 3 in stone or wood as well. Big thing to remember is just make sure it's all the same tier when you're utilizing it and the same material. We want to make sure we talk about that. And then they will work their way up. And I like these 1/3 to this point here. All right. When it comes to traps, we're going to go with our 1 epic reload again. You're going to have an issue here a little bit with being able to have your propane coverage, if you will, because I want to keep them out here a bit. There are some things that you can do when it comes to these sections here, but again, I'm going to sacrifice the propane prevention, just go with the 1. We will start off this pattern with the wooden floor spike and work it all the way up. And again, that roll for you would be heels attached. And then you have either your crit build if you like it, and or I'll show you both. There's nothing wrong in high traveled areas, and some would even say it's better, right, to go ahead and utilize the heels attached throughout. All right, so that's something to know. And honestly, that's the one I've been using. So we're going to make sure we include that one. I actually do like that one better for endurance play. Remember, this trap isn't so awesome because of the damage it does, even if you try to put the crit on that. Right? It's more about your mechanic. So let's be mindful. We're using that. But up you go. 6 perk in case you were to get the explosion of the heels attached over the durability. And I do not like increased build health. It gives it a chance to passively heal, right? Well. All right, then we work in here. These would be your wall darts. Side to side at 2 reload. And your 1 reload here. Front to back. And actually, you would have 2 of those. There would be another up here. We're going to work up this way. Same thing with this dart shooting through. On the back here, you actually have a couple of different options. You could sneak in some sound walls back through here and just turn this in basically to some recycling. Note that with the sound walls, though, that the traps can work against the dancing effect a bit. But yeah, I mean, you could come in here and add either the primary wall dynamo here and here. Or again, we can go ahead and do more sound wall if you would like that instead. And we're going to go ahead and just throw the sound wall here. I have no problem with this. This is like a recycler type style build for the most part. And we are going to mix these in throughout, more so as you get later into the game. No, I will point that out. All right, so just a couple different ones there because you are so light on it. All right, ceiling drop traps. I've got my primary and my stagger, or the 1 reload, 2 reload. All right, 1 reload over my back shoulder, skip a tile, 1 reload here. And then this tile right here, let's go with that 2 reload or the stagger. You can throw that tire. Anything more than 1 tile high, up to 3. So even if you got like an 8th here, and it'll still go. So you can use it, and I want you to use it. So we have that going. Inside of here now, for the first time, the wall light. Just with everything else, I have a primary and I have a stagger or a secondary. If you can't place it, go back down to tier 1. And with this trap, please pay attention to the impact on it. I often see recommendations to 3 impact. I don't recommend 3 impact on that trap unless you are specifically focused on smashers. Very important. If you're not, I would much rather you have the extra durability instead of other impact. All right, but anyway, we'll just be changing the epic reload with it. So we have the first and then the stagger. And I do want the wall light here. It will fire and push. Or work with your other here. Please note your reload speeds. I have 6.8 and 6.5. All right. When it comes to wall launchers, we have 4.3 here. So I can just use that same wall launcher throughout. We'd be fine. But do be mindful. You might have to switch those. You don't want 2 traps typically on the same reload time. Then as you can see here, they're just going to be working up. And then we're just going to keep trying to bring them back down and slow it down until they get up this way. Works extremely nice. If you want a little bit more damage, again, substitute the sound walls for the wall dynamo if you would like. Right, so we are good here with this. No builds around here, here, here. Right here. I like a block off facing to the southwest and a heels attached spike on the back wall. Nothing on the floor here at all whatsoever. Pyramid here. This is where your floor would start as they work their way up. And that would be your wooden floor spike again. One-third here. We have the heels attached on the back side of those. And again, we'll make sure everything's tier 3 and to the southwest here, and we'll finish that off in the end. All right. This here would be your 2 reload side to side. Your 1 reload would go front to back. In case you got any enemies getting queued over here for some reason. Be mindful once again that this wall here could disappear on you. But if you don't get the hotspot wave, right, you could be good to go. So, but I'm going to tell you to prepare whether you have it or not on this one. You'll be just fine. Now, with our build from this point, we're going to try to throw some damage in. We need more damage than typical because we don't have a lot to begin with if they get this deep. Then we'll be talking about your primary and your stagger with your broadside and just changing 1 epic reloaded, right? One of your legendaries to 1 epic. Excuse me. All right, so you've got this here and this here. 2 different when they're facing. I never like the same reload when it faces. Too much downtime with this trap too, by the way. I'm not a big fan. It's pretty much the only place I will use it. Very rare otherwise. I've mentioned it in other episodes. I'm not a big fan of the broadside and the freeze trap like most people are. In fact, I won't have a single freeze trap in this entire build. All right. I prefer the tar for the charge. Otherwise, it's the wooden floor spike all day long. Please don't overlook this trap and how valid and viable it is. Truly, in my opinion, when people ask me what the best trap in Save the World is, it's right here, in my opinion. It makes everything else just work and work better. All right, and then you're coming up. You got your walls around. Up, like this. Okay. On the wall here, I just want you to have a heels attached spike. Nothing here. Again for this. And I keep coming back to it. I just don't like it there. I'm just going to tend to honestly remove it. I just know it's not going to stand. All right. This comes up here with a hole in it. And then their throw. I do want to throw some damage here. But we're going to do like a block off. Facing again to the southwest. Whole block off. Same thing as before. Make sure you have your heels attached spike on the backside. And then the side-to-side dart of the 2 reload would shoot through. This is going to be a damage section for us. And honestly, You could get rid of this here, do the 1/3 wall, and throw an electric field up here if you want. Haven't needed that, but it's there and available if it's something that you're interested in. And then right here, I have a wall going this way. Okay. On this side here, I'm going to go darts. Right here. And then wall dynamos. Stagger in the back, primary in the front. And then it opens up here. You can't build over here again, so we're going to force them in a different direction out. Pretty much this way instead. And same as before now, I'm going to go ahead, heels attach spike on the back side here. Typically they want to come up and go that way, but I'm just going to open them around in this way. Because again, you're going to run into problems up here if you try to build that out. On your hotspot waves. So we're clear on it. This is your finisher that I like to utilize. This comes here. I've used that every single episode so far. I will continue to use that for the endurances. This will be a 1 reload dart front to back here. And it'll go 1, 2, into the 3. And then some are saying 4, but again, it's not consistent enough for me when I test it. So I'm going to stick with 3 on the distance instead for you. And that gets sealed. You're going to run into problems over here and around here as well. So I do want to point it out. Now we're going to wrap. Let me put a floor here for a sec. Like this. Ceiling, ceiling, ceiling. Unfortunately, right here, you can't have it. Because of this here. Sometimes it does stay, though. It's the dart will stay, but the darn this doesn't stay. So I do this just a little bit different instead. And we'll talk about it more, but I definitely want you to have this. Did want to point out, too, this piece down here, this is extra. All right, you don't need this. If you want to save that piece, you can take it out. I just like I usually like to put them here, but this one blows up when you put it in when the hotspot hits, so it's like, eh. And you've got all that going now. Up above here, go ahead and wrap around. And wrap around. And then ceilings on top. Just like this here. Let me go get some more metal. Work the mat grinder a bit in between episodes. So to get some metal back in. I really would like to use the metal throughout on the build. I do so much tutorial stuff that I'm always putting my metal into so many different builds, seems like, but I guess the point is it gets light sometimes as a result. And we got everything here. Now I will tell you, you've got 1, 2 to the 3 here. So something hung here, you could get a dart, or if you had a breach for some reason, but I've never had it, so I don't put it. You don't need it there. I would avoid it. But leave everything else here like this. Same thing here. if you wanted to, right? Well, actually, you're going to kind of have to right there. If you want to have that sealed anyway, you'd have to come up and build around because of what you got going on here. All right. Now, over on these two walls, I like my primary and your stagger. On these two walls, same thing. Primary, stagger. And believe it or not, right here, I'll alternate it too. So you've got that. That's the stagger, by the way. Stagger. And then you got your primary right here. This here is whatever works best for you, like truly. All right, we have dart 1, 2 into the 3. Right, and you've got your dart here. But when it comes to the ceiling drop traps, a couple different reloads. I typically try to kick them out this way. It's just what I like. And then I go again with the main and then the stagger. And then up here, you would have the main again straight back. This is a dart here, 2 reloads side to side. This is the 1 reload front to back. Don't need anything in the corner sections here. Actually, that's not true. I want you to have the one over here. I apologize. In the end, this tile here doesn't even make a difference for you as a result. So you won't need it. Have tried things where I bring the darts this way and shooting in, but the spawns take them. So I don't do that anymore. You're pretty good to go with the build. You don't really need it. All right, make sure everything is tiered up here. As we finalize, wooden floor spike to start. You got your primary 2 reload tar pit. You've got your 1 reload here. And as we are working out, I like a couple of darts out this way as they work through here. Actually, you can run darts through here to work them in. And then you have your darts already working out this way. This dart here sometimes too can be removed from this. So I want to point that out. Okay, back of the edited pyramid, have your dart. Or excuse me, your wooden floor spikes, I apologize. Front to back again would be your 1 reload speed dart. And anything that is front to back. Like we have here. You can add an additional piece here if you would like. All right. And that side to sides would be your 2 reloads. Just like this here. So a little bit extra on this. And this will help too in case this gets lifted over here. I still leave this one though on the amplifier. And I did mention that in the amplifier build that we did. Another thing that you can do when they come back out this way, you could reintroduce a wooden floor spike again, which is not a bad idea because it would give you that full tile of snare plus 1, 2, and a half a slung effect in. Okay. You can honestly throw an electric field up here too for a little extra, just your primary electric, just a little extra here of damage because we're working so much recycling early on and we took the dynamos away. So we're going to go this way instead with it. And they'll come out and they'll try to cut and go. But with the opening, we're baiting them in. That's the point of that. Then you have your last traps here. You would have your primary ceiling zapper. Again, single target trap, end of your trap tunnel. Big ticket item. Can cause the impact at times can cause knockback. So I do consider direction with that. And then I have a finisher at the end. 1 reload, more damage. 2 reload, right? This is more crit. This is more pure to finish. And then they will work their way out this way. So that's your trap tunnel. Now, if it comes to, and you want to utilize a base placement, for instance, when it comes to base placements, usually you'd want that on this little block off here, on a block off section, protecting the meat and potatoes of the build, if you will. Just right up here, I'd protect back here. Remember, do not connect your trap tunnels to your amplifier. That is important. Then you have, out here, we have our ceiling now. So when it comes to the ceiling, off of this piece here and extending here in metal, right down from the natural terrain, you're going to extend this all the way across. Apologies. Just like this to here. All right. So in the end, you would be 1 into the 2 high. And then you're going to take this all the way in and connect it. All right, I want to point this out here too. And then what I will do is over here, I will throw a wall dart at that 2 reload, shooting it. And we just leave this all open. And yeah, you'll get down here and you say, oh man, there's an opening. They're probably going to lob and fling at that. It goes against everything you talk about when you talk about lobber shields. But again, we've got it all covered for you. So don't worry about that. And honestly, if you're recycling them, you want them interested in slowing them down a bit here. Okay? No issue at all. Truly, there is not. And then if you wanted to clean this up, you could go this way with it too. It's just really a playstyle choice. You don't need it. So then we go back up to the top. Make sure we have everything upgraded to tier 3. Usually I seal this down too for visual. I just like it all to be, clean. So we have all of this right here. And this will shoot 1, 2 into the 3 in case something were to get over here. Right? You've got your tire pushing in play there. And then you just seal. And your direction of your ceilings is facing, are going south to north or north to south for this build. And then when we come in, and I'm going to show you here in a second, after we just ensure everything is tiered and top tiered. Let me just take a look over here for a second. Yeah, we don't need that dart. Anytime I see an open wall, I'm like, how can I get more damage? Just how I play the game. Then what we will do, and you don't want that there now. Okay. But a tile over. Like this. Okay. And then you will face it this way. And you would take it into here. And we'll get back to this in a moment. You can get enemies up over here, believe it or not. So I do take that into consideration. Because we're going to build across here, and we kind of look at it. But anyway, I just want to show you the beginning, because this will be the next build. And don't go here, because you can create a land bridge if you're not careful. So I tend to leave that be. And then as you will see, you'll know where this build here ends and your new build begins. Nothing on the ground down here. There's a hot spot here. It'll blow everything up. Actually, it blows anything up to the second level here and so on. But we'll cover this in our next episode. Then when you work out into this area, typically what I like when it comes to my sound wall traps especially, I'm going to go with the ceiling drop trap first. I'm going to work. I'm going to skip a tile and push straight back here. Okay? And then you can go off of what your rolls were here as well if you want to make sure your pattern is correct. All right. But nonetheless, you just come over here and work off of it. And then this one here would be straight back. And this is your 2 relit. Or you could bring it back this way too, however you want. But typically around my sound walls, I like to have the ceiling drops. All right. And again, that's the next build that we're going to do. So we'll start here. And then we're going to just alternate our primary and secondary / stagger electric field on every other tile. Just like this here. Don't need anything back here or here, albeit that can play sometimes, but that's completely and entirely up to you if you would like to. I'm not going to include it. I don't think you need it. And then again, we'll go with the other electric field now. And we'll just fill in all the alternating gaps. And again, you can go here and here, believe it or not. And you could theoretically get a fire from them. But I'm going to leave them be because we have it under here for you. And this would be your drop amplifier, preparing you for the south attack.